For nearly 2 decades after the September 11 attacks, the United States military structured much of its operational thinking around counterterrorism. Drones, surveillance aircraft, intelligence platforms, and persistent reconnaissance systems became central tools in conflicts stretching from Afghanistan to Iraq and across the broader Middle East. As strategic competition with China intensifies, conventional wisdom has suggested that many of these counterterrorism-era capabilities have become obsolete. Yet recent analysis indicates that some of the very platforms developed for the global war on terror may play an unexpectedly important role in a future conflict over Taiwan. This possibility reflects a broader geopolitical reality. Major shifts in international politics rarely produce entirely new forms of warfare. Instead, states often adapt existing technologies, operational concepts, and military institutions to new strategic environments. The challenge facing the United States today is not simply to build new weapons for a potential conflict with China, but to determine how existing capabilities can be integrated into a fundamentally different form of warfare. At the center of this discussion are aircraft such as the MQ-9 Reaper, along with the broader ecosystem of intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and strike platforms developed during America's counterterrorism campaigns. While these systems were originally designed to track insurgents and conduct precision strikes against non-state actors, they possess characteristics that may prove valuable in a Western Pacific contingency, persistence, flexibility, long-range surveillance capability, and the ability to operate across large geographic areas. Geography remains the most important variable shaping any potential conflict over Taiwan. Unlike the wars in Iraq or Afghanistan, a conflict in the Western Pacific would unfold across thousands of kilometers of ocean, involving dispersed forces operating across contested maritime and air domains. In such an environment, the ability to maintain persistent surveillance and provide real-time intelligence becomes a strategic necessity. The Taiwan Strait, the Philippine Sea, the Luzon Strait, and the broader First Island chain represent one of the most complex operational environments in the modern world. American and Allied forces would require continuous intelligence collection, maritime surveillance, battle damage assessment, targeting support, and logistics coordination across an enormous battle space. Counterterrorism-era platforms, particularly unmanned systems, could provide critical support functions without exposing large numbers of personnel to immediate danger. This evolution reflects a broader transformation in American military strategy. During the post-Cold War era, the United States emphasized overwhelming force projection and uncontested military superiority. Today, American defense planners increasingly focus on distributed operations, attrition management, and the efficient use of existing assets in contested environments. In this context, lower-cost unmanned systems capable of persistent operations become strategically valuable. From the perspective of alliance dynamics, these capabilities also reinforce the growing importance of regional security networks. Japan, Australia, the Philippines, and Taiwan itself increasingly rely on shared intelligence architectures, distributed sensing networks, and interoperable command systems. Counterterrorism-derived intelligence platforms could strengthen these networks by providing additional layers of surveillance and battle space awareness across critical maritime corridors. The discussion also illustrates a larger trend in contemporary warfare, the blurring of distinctions between high-intensity conventional conflict and lower-intensity asymmetric operations. Future conflicts are unlikely to resemble either the counterinsurgency campaigns of the early 21st century or the industrial warfare of the 20th century. Instead, they will likely combine elements of both, requiring militaries to integrate old and new capabilities simultaneously. For China, this evolution presents additional strategic challenges. Beijing's military modernization efforts have focused heavily on denying American forces access to the Western Pacific through anti-access and area denial strategies. However, dispersed networks of relatively inexpensive surveillance and strike systems complicate this approach by increasing the number of targets an adversary must identify, track, and neutralize. At the same time, the growing role of unmanned and surveillance platforms contributes to a broader militarization of the Indo-Pacific security environment. As major powers increasingly rely on persistent monitoring, autonomous systems, and distributed networks, the risk of miscalculation and unintended escalation may also increase. The broader lesson is that strategic competition rarely produces a complete break with the past. Instead, states adapt inherited technologies and operational experiences to new geopolitical realities. The wars of the global war on terror may be ending, but some of the tools developed during those conflicts may help shape the outcome of the most consequential strategic competition of the 21st century.